Grenada pays tribute to Britain's longest reigning monarch, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, who died on Thursday. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Thursday, September 8, 2022, I am Abigail McIntyre. Governor General Her Excellency Dame Cecile Lagranade has expressed her condolences and sympathies to members of the royal family and to the government and people of the United Kingdom following the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II on Thursday. In a statement, Dame Cecile said, and I quote, "Today we mourn the loss of this great, enduring monarch who served her country and the Commonwealth with incomparable devotion for more than 70 years, unquote. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning British monarch, ruled Britain for 70 years. Dame Cecile's statement added that although she will be greatly missed, Her Majesty's legacy of leadership and exemplary service will live on indelibly. The Governor General says guidance on a condolence book will be provided in a subsequent release. The government of Grenada has also issued a statement following news of the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. It reads, and I quote, "It is with heavy hearts that the government and people of Grenada received news on the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Head of State of Grenada. Prime Minister the Honourable Dickon Mitchell expressed heartfelt sympathies and condolences to His Majesty the King, the Queen Consort, and all members of the royal family on behalf of the government and people of Grenada." He said, quote, "I am sincerely saddened to learn of the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. As head of the Commonwealth, Her Majesty's steady leadership helped to unite people and countries from around the globe in common cause, and for this, Queen Elizabeth II will always be remembered. We mourn her passing and will continue to honor her legacy," unquote. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II ascended the throne on February 6, 1952. At the time of her passing, Her Majesty was the longest ruling monarch in British history. As a mark of respect, flags throughout the state will be flown at half-mast until the date of Her Majesty's funeral. The government of Grenada has released 1 million EC dollars to the Grenada Industrial Development Corporation, the GIDC, to continue its work in assisting and developing small and medium enterprises. In 2018, the Ministry of Finance signed an MOU with GIDC for the implementation of entrepreneurial activities under the Enterprise Business Development component of the Sept project. It's a 6-year project that focuses on training, business development, grant financing, and what's called holding support for young people between the ages 16 and 35. The ultimate project goal by the end of 2024 is to train 500 young people in managing a business. At least 400 of that number must have access to grant financing. 120 should have startup operations, and the GIDC should have provided support to 150 existing enterprises. With the project just 2 years shy of completion, Senior Vice President of the GIDC, Keisha Mitchell, gave an update on the current status of the project.
So from the 500 young people, the target of 500 young people, we have trained 482 to date, with more or less, a year and about 6 months left on the project. So this is indeed a great milestone. With reference to access to grant financing, we are actually at the 50% mark. 201 young people have actually accessed the grant financing at the first push level, right? To be able to purchase equipment, raw materials, and other things that they would need that would have enabled them to actually test the business idea. But as I said, some of them actually started. To date, 173 have started. That is actually a 134% over the target of 120. So again,
A number of local businesses has benefited from the program, including local skincare line Lux Treasures, Demi Design, which specializes in bags and clothing, and PRB Naturals, which specializes in making sauces and vinaigrettes, among other businesses. Minister for Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation, the Honorable Andy Williams, is pleased to see local businesses getting the support they need from organizations like the GIDC and Sept.
From where I stand, I could tell you that something that bothers me is our food security, right? And the trend that has been, that we are seeing right now throughout the world is that food supplies and so is scarce. And when you see businesses like local businesses are engaged in the production of food and so, and local food, I'm saying this is the way we have to go. This is the direction we have to take as a country, right? And I really want to commend Mr. Campbell, IFAD, and everyone who played a part to make this successful. And it shows the government commitment also to support this sort of thing. I love the fact that we are targeting young people, because some of the products that I'm seeing, you know, I know these people and they are young people. And we are in a society today where the young people seems to be lost. And I want to encourage more young people and more citizens to get on board to make this program even more successful and larger.
Addressing the human resource deficiency and improving infrastructure of health centers is a priority for the Ministry of Health and Wellness in Carriacou and Petite Martinique. The need was identified during a 2-day visit to the sister islands by a team from the Ministry of Health led by Minister for Health and Wellness, Honorable Jonathan Lecret. The team visited 5 district clinics and the lone hospital on the island, that's the Princess Royal Hospital, where they toured the facilities and held discussions with staff. Healthcare issues identified by Minister Lecret included infrastructure development, staffing, and transportation between the islands. These issues and others, he promised, will be prioritized and addressed in a systematic manner.
A visit that gave us the opportunity to sort of evaluate where our health sector is at, look at the infrastructure of our health centers, and also the human resource deficiency that we have to kind of ascertain where we are and what we need to do moving forward. The number one issue is the deficiency in healthcare practitioners across the entire sector, and I believe that when we begin to address that gap that exists, we're definitely going to see an improvement in healthcare services in Grenada as it relates to filling the gaps for manpower. The infrastructure or infrastructural development of those health centers that are in need of that kind of retrofitting, or in some cases, there was one health center we visited that needs an entire overhaul. So we definitely will do the assessment and the scope of works and ensure that these health centers in the coming weeks and months are retrofitted and structured properly as it relates to their infrastructural disposition, so that residents in the various communities can feel proud and can have a sense of reward that they can go to a health center and feel comfortable receiving the kind of healthcare services that they deserve.
One of the major healthcare concerns of Carriacou is the lack of proper dental equipment at the Hillsborough Smart Health Center. Minister for Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs, the Honorable Tevin Andrews, who was part of the delegation, said in a matter of weeks, new dental equipment will be installed on both islands. Minister Andrews added that a long-term goal is to transform the Petite Martinique-based facility into a polyclinic.
The first place we visited was Petite Martinique, and the idea with Petite Martinique is to help transform the clinic from where it is now and turn it into a polyclinic in time to come. And some of the things that we will be seeing is from this visit is some general upkeep and upgrade, facelifting to some of our health facilities, and of course some medical equipment which will be coming in short order, especially as it relates to dental health, dental care, and many other things. Training through the Ministry of Education for a few of our youngsters to go abroad, training the different healthcare fields, so that they can come back to give service to the island, whether it's in biomed, whether it's in dental care, whether it's in X-ray, being an X-ray technician or ultrasound technicians, having those skills right here on the island to help improve the level of healthcare services on the island of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. So I'm very happy with the visit and of course with the discussions that we have had thus far. And of course I look forward to seeing the Minister for Health with some of the goodies that he will be bringing back before Christmas.
Also part of the delegation was Permanent Secretary with responsibility for strategic and operational management of the general and subsidiary hospitals and community health services, Naomi Jeremiah, Senior Administrative Officer Rachel Roberts, Chief Planner Camille St. Louis, Acting Chief Nursing Officer Carol Tellisford Charles, and Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Carriacou and Petit Martinique Affairs and Local Government, Javan Williams. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Prepare for hurricane. Prepare for hurricane. Make sure you have your radio and your batteries too. Waterproof flashlight, candles will do. Tin stuff, garbage bag, first aid kit. Come on, people, make sure you have it. Clean water in a container and a hurricane plan. Hear me, no man.
Hurricane damage is beyond your control. Surviving the aftermath is up to you. Have a hurricane plan. It can save your life and your family too.
Prepare for hurricane. Your hair, prepare for hurricane.
Welcome back. Government says the Grenada Development Bank now has systems in place to effectively process and manage the flow of applications for the loan support program under the stimulus package for micro, small and medium-sized enterprises. During the post-cabinet briefing on Tuesday, Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, the Honorable Decon Mitchell, said following the announcement of the availability of the loan at GDB in 2021, little progress was made due to internal shortfalls. However, systems are now in place to ensure the smooth management of the loan program. The Finance Minister announced an additional $10 million in stimulus support for new and existing micro, small and medium enterprises.
The Grenada Development Bank, in fact, has streamlined the loan processing process. And so for persons who would have applied under the small business development loan aspect of the GDB, we expect that these processes will now take place a lot quicker and would be a lot more responsive to the needs of the persons who've applied via that facility.
The MSME COVID-19 Support Fund provides an opportunity for loan financing to COVID-19 affected MSMEs to obtain a loan of over $40,000 up to a maximum of $300,000 at 1% interest rate. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Mike Sylvester, said the stimulus support caters to businesses in tourism, hospitality, agribusiness, energy, ICT, and health.
We have the restructured COVID-19 support facility, and there is also the Small Business Development Fund and the Small Hoteliers Facility that, of course, provide attractive loans to help small business. So in addition to the grants that the stimulus package or the CES would support, there's also the issues of loans to MSMEs and so on. I know that there was a delay in the approval of some of these facilities. Of course, systems are now in place to facilitate the movement of that program once again.
Prime Minister Decon Mitchell has commended the management and staff of the Grenada Tourism Authority and the National Lotteries Authority for their contribution to national development. Prime Minister Mitchell met recently with staff of both the GTA and NLA to get acquainted with the team and also meet with recently appointed board members. On his visit to the Tourism Authority, the Prime Minister was joined by Tourism Minister Honorable Lennox Knox Andrews, Permanent Secretary in the Prime Minister's Office, Ms. Carvel Lett, Chief Personnel Officer in the Office of the Public Service Commission, Ms. Jacinta Joseph, and Mr. Kijana Orlando Romaine. The Prime Minister also met with the newly appointed Chairman of the Grenada Tourism Authority, Mr. Randall Dolland. Following the visit to GTA, Prime Minister Mitchell visited the National Lotteries Authority, together with the Minister for Sports, Honorable Ron Redhead, and Permanent Secretary in the Prime Minister's Office, Carvel Lett. They met with Chair of the Board, Mr. William Batiste, Deputy Chairperson Gail Purcell, and other board and staff members.
Well, the purpose for visiting both was first to pay a courtesy call on the management and staff of both institutions, as well as the boards. Both institutions have had boards that have been recently appointed. And so I thought it important for me to pay a courtesy call to meet with board members, to meet with the management, to meet with the staff, to thank the staff and management for the job that they've been doing in terms of supporting the institutions and helping the government over the years to address issues that they are tasked with, but also to boost morale of the staff in particular. I'm aware that in the public sector and by extension many of the statutory bodies that we transitioned into a system where there was low staff morale. Staff members have complained about the way they've been treated, the terms and conditions of work, and to assure them that we are here to do things differently, that we believe in people, we recognize the need for high staff morale, for treating staff with dignity, for recognizing the importance of the role they play. And I thought it was important that I should come myself and send that message to the staff, as well as to build a team spirit. You can't accomplish things if you're not on the same page. Yes, we'll have differences of opinions, yes, we may have disagreements, but we have to be able to recognize at the end of the day that we're all part of the same team, Team Grenada, and we have to work together. So that means being able to have open and frank dialogue about the issues you face, the challenges, and also about the reward systems that are in place to recognize hard work, and to encourage institutions to really set aggressive targets and goals for being successful.
This story brings us to the end of the National Report for Thursday, 8th September 2022. Recapping the top story, Grenada pays tribute to Britain's longest reigning monarch, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, who died on Thursday. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Abigail McIntyre. Thank you for joining us.